It is the third largest city in California, and by the latest numbers, had the worst water performance in the entire state, and you've probably never even heard of it. Nick Janes went to the Mojave Desert to a place called California City. Nick?
Sam, this is a place far from the ritzy SoCal suburbs, and its soaring water use stuck out like a sore thumb. What we found was frankly one of the strangest places I have ever been, a sprawling city that never was, with roads that stretch for miles in the desert, literally to nowhere.
Jackie, California City was once a land of promise, but today the majority of its 200 square miles are made up of open desert and the remains of what was supposed to be something much, much bigger in the Kern County desert. For this story, you're going to have to listen close. Really, really close. Because out here, that's the only way you're going to hear them. The reminders. Reminders of what's left. Reminders of what could have been.
Yeah, obviously people were very upset.
Reminders of broken promises.
I've been bit so many times, I don't know what to say.
Jim Quiggle actually has a lot to say because he's been bit so many times.
I could talk your ear off for days, but what it is a pretty desert that could be better.
Better, because this place was supposed to rival Los Angeles. After all, it is the third largest city in the state by land size.
In fact, I have somewhere a map with renderings on it that bigger than Chicago by 1988, I believe it was.
But once you stop dreaming, you see the reality that is California City. It's a fully functioning city, nearly 14,000 strong. But that wasn't the plan. The plan can be seen to the northeast, where you'll find stop signs for no one, water tanks and sewer covers in the middle of nowhere. The view from above, cutouts for roads and cul-de-sacs, make the city look skeletal. Reminders of what was supposed to be something so much bigger. Nat Mendelsohn's dream in the 1950s.
They almost did it right, but they lost it.
Decades later, Jim Quiggle was brought in for a second go at the Cal City dream, tasked with revitalizing the area around a resort. But just like the first time, broken promises. In both instances, sales teams making promises they couldn't keep. Both instances ending in failure. The cruelty of it all? It's all there. It's all ready. Well, the paved roads, the stop signs, the fire hydrants, all constant reminders of what could have been here in California City. But here, near Galileo Hill, an oasis, a reminder to landowners here of what the future could hold for the land up here just northeast of the California City Center. That oasis in the middle of the desert, the Silver Saddle Ranch. This is what Jim was brought in to help with, but now it's in the hands of Thomas Maney.
Or it owns me. I don't know if I own it, or it owns me. Or it owns me. I don't know if I own it, or it owns me.
But the resort resembles hope in the barren desert because it's thrived in its own way. On weekends, it fills with people from up and down the state, most owning lots, but choosing not to build homes on them.
People came up and bought lots left and right.
The purchased lots, a way for landowners to buy a stake in the ranch, giving them part ownership, giving them power to do whatever they want with it after Maney leaves.
It's up to them to develop it.
But will they? Everything is all ready. More than 1,600 lots near Silver Saddle have access to power and water and are serviced by the city. It's all ready. So when? When is California City going to become what it was supposed to be?
You're asking a question for which there is no answer. Yeah, I think it'll work. I just don't know how long it's going to take to do it.
For now, let's listen close. For now, let's wait.
Got to be optimistic.
Because for now, that's all we can do. Wait to see if this California dream ever becomes a reality.
This was only supposed to be a story about water. But in California, stories about water always end up being about money, power, and deception. It was June 2016, and I was new to California. I'd driven into Los Angeles just a month earlier from North Dakota with my 2 cats, cowboy boots, and a wedding dress. I'd been hired as the environment reporter at a public radio station, and the first assignment my new editor gave me was go cover the drought.
We're in an historic drought.
Governor Jerry Brown wants to cut the state's overall water usage by 25%.
It was the worst anyone could remember. Lakes were evaporating before our very eyes. Entire forests were dying. and thousands of wells were running dry.
We're standing on dry grass, and we should be standing in 5 feet of snow.
California owes its very existence to hubris, to the relentless battle we've waged for decades to make this desert our garden. But during the drought, people started to wonder if we were going to lose that battle. Maybe the California dream really was a mirage. This one town I'd never heard of, a Mojave Desert town called California City, it was wasting a ton of water. So I drove out there to figure out why. I had been expecting a small town with a bustling main street where you could drink a beer, get a haircut, and buy a shovel all on the same block. But California City, it wasn't like that. It was a quiet, sprawling, uneasy place. It's the third largest city in the state, but with only about 14,000 people.
It's just massive, the amount of land that's out here. And the roads, there's so many roads on every single direction. They're all leading to nothing.
It turned out that California City was haunted by the decision of one man more than 60 years ago to build a city for 500,000 people way out here in the desert. That man's name was Nat Mendelsohn.
Nat believed with all his heart that God gave him the vision for the city.
He bought the land. He built the roads, the water lines. He built an airport and a lake.
He was a dreamer, but he made dreamers of us all in the beginning. He lit our torch.
He hired thousands of salesmen to sell his vision.
Hey, listen, you don't sell the steak, you sell the sizzle. That's what sales are about.
They sold land to tens of thousands of people.
We thought it was the golden opportunity and we're going to make millions off of it.
But most of those people never moved to California City. And a lot of them came to think they'd been deceived.
It was a scam. It was a scam, and I bet.
And now the water lines that Nat Mendelsohn had built were rusting and leaking. That's why California City was wasting so much water. But I learned something else on that first trip to California City. Something I really didn't expect at all. I learned that salespeople were still selling a version of Nat Mendelsohn's dream. The idea that this place was going to boom one day. And if you bought land now, you'd get rich. I learned that these salespeople, they targeted a very specific group of people.
You know what? We are immigrants. We thought in America, we cannot imagine this happened to us.
So they kind of marketed to a vulnerable group of people.
I have a plan for that money to open a food truck business, but I feel like I lose hope. My dream is not gonna happen anymore.
I would spend the next 3 years trying to figure out exactly what had happened in California City, what had gone wrong. And along the way, I would meet a saleswoman so shrewd, people called her the Barracuda. I'd meet a former prosecutor who later murdered his wife. A retired police chief who quietly decided not to investigate an open secret in his own town. An immigrant who spent his life savings on a dream he realized was too good to be true. And I would meet the government officials trying to stop this once and for all. I'm Emily Guerin. From LA Studios, this is California City, the dark side of the American dream. A story of money, power, and deception. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
All right, guys, so the other day I told you that I was going to start going back all the way to the beginning. And by doing so, that means we have to go back to the beginning on how California City was created. By me doing research and looking things up, I came across this podcast here on YouTube, the one you just got done listening to. I'm going to go ahead and share her videos in the description section. The stuff that she uncovered is incredible. Now, some of you guys might think, what does this have to do with the boys? I gotta tell you, it has everything to do with the boys. I've ran into multiple people in California City that are foster parents that were told by the Department of Children's Services to relocate to California City with their children. I want to know why. Why are foster parents being told to relocate to California City? That's a question that I think all of us need to ponder on. All of us need to do some digging on why they are doing that, why they are telling people to move to California City. It's all about money, like you heard at the beginning of this podcast. Money, greed, and power. So be expecting a lot more uploads from me when it comes down to how California City was created. I'm going to start doing a lot of digging into the background of California City and exactly why foster parents are being told to move there. I also want to know why a foster parent was threatened by neighbors on why she could not talk to me. And if she did talk to me, they were going to pretty much push her out and just not associate with her anymore. There's something very strange going on in California City, and it's time that we all find out exactly what that is. This is AV Watchmen, and you guys are tuned in to United We Stand. If you have not subscribed, please take the time now to subscribe. Turn on the notification bell to all notifications. Much love and respect to each and every last one of you. AV Watchmen, and I'm signing out.